Shaper 3D. I have exported that and I have imported it into Creality Print. And so you can see my little cube here. And a couple of things that you need to know is using the mouse, we can navigate the screen. If I use the right click, so the right mouse button, I push that down, it allows me to kind of change my view. And if I use the little scroll wheel in the middle between the buttons, I can zoom in and out. And then if I use the left button, I can select my model. When I select my model, I have multiple different things I can do. You can see on the left-hand side, it opens up some of these menu options. I can move it, and so I can click and I can drag it around. If I want to recenter it, I click on center. If I happen to move it up off the print bed, that's no good because it's just going to try to print in thin air. And you can click on bottom and it will put it back flat onto the print bed. And then, let's see. All right. So I can also click on scale. So this is better done in Shaper 3D, but if you want to resize it, you can resize it if you realize that the dimensions are wrong. And you can either do a percent or you can actually type in a size that you want it to be. We can rotate, and we see different options here. You got to be really careful because if you rotate it and you're trying to get it to rotate 90 clockwise and you think that it's good, but you look up here in the Y and it says 90.74, that is not 90. And at this point, this is not going to actually be flat on the print bed, which will create huge problems when you're trying to print it. So you can type in 90, which will put it flat. A better way to, if you're trying to like change sides, a better way to do it is to use this bottom option here. And because this is a cube, it's going to be a little bit hard to tell what's happening, but I can click on that bottom and then I can click on a face that I want to be flat on the print bed. So for example, if I want to have this side right here be flat, I would click on that. You're not going to be able to tell much because it's exactly a cube, but if I tap on that, then it's going to rotate it. So you might be able to see this better if we do this, and then I select it, and then I click on where it says bottom, and then I can click on this face right here, and that'll be put down flat on the print bed. Another option is we can do layout if we're doing multiple prints of different objects or the same object multiple times. You can organize them using this. The support, we're going to look at that more when it comes to printing the house, but that allows you to kind of prevent overhangs from sagging. And then in others, we have the ability to clone, which would be to copy. You have the ability to do letters. I'm not sure exactly what that does. You can split it. So with the cars last year, if you did that project, you can take the top off of a model, or you can cut it in half. You can cut it and then print two different parts and then glue them together later if you wanted to. The drill, you can cut a hole in it. I don't know why you would want to, but if you wanted to, you could. And then you can measure, and then you can also make it hollow, which is making a shell, and that is definitely something that you should do in Shaper 3D, but there is an option here for that. So for this model that we're printing, we want to change the density. So this is a solid model, and so hypothetically it could print 100% and be completely solid plastic, which would take a long time and take a lot of filament. And so most of these settings over here, if you look on the right hand side, these are the settings that we can select. We can do normal, quality, high quality, and then on the left hand side it kind of tells you what the differences are. If you look in these configurations, it says infill density is 10%, quality, its infill density is 10%, and then high quality is 10% also. And so if you go back and you look at, let's see, this infill density, that's about looking something kind of like this 10% option right here, something similar to that depending on how big your cube is. But for just what we're going to do for this project is we are going to change the configuration so it's not 10%, we're going to change it to 15%, just for the fun of it and to practice doing this. So in my parameter config here, I'm going to click on this add, and it's going to create a new profile. and I'm going to call it 15% infill. And I'm going to copy the profile, so all of the settings are going to stay the same from normal. And I could do high quality or quality. I'm just going to keep it normal. I'm going to say next. And then on the left hand side, there's a lot of different things that we can change here. And until you know how to print a little bit better, please, I don't think you should be changing a lot, but we could go to infill here, and then we can change the density. And instead of being 10%, I could change it to 15%, which is what I'm going to do. And then there's a lot of other things that we can change. For example, the infill pattern. The grid is just going to be like these little squares, and again, depending on how big it is, it's going to have more squares or less squares. But there are different patterns that it can print, so gyroid, honeycomb, lightning, and because these are inside your walls or inside your shape, you're not really going to see them, but it is kind of interesting to watch it do it. And then different ones have different strength patterns, and but anyway, we're going to keep it grid for right now. We're going to say save, and now it gives us a new configuration parameter, or parameter configuration, and we're going to use that one.